Hi, everyone, and welcome back to the Flow Podcast, a space that challenges stigma, breaks the silence, and celebrates women and girls' health journey. We also celebrate individuals driving change. I'm so glad that you can be here with me today. So, now let's get real. For a long time, menstruation has been treated like a secret, something to hide about. For some of us, we learned about menstruation with very hush hush tones. We learned about it maybe from an older sister or an older cousin who slipped us a pad and said, "Don't tell anyone." But here at Flow Podcast, we believe that menstruation is not a secret or a source of shame. Menstruation is normal, it is powerful, and it is a part of life. And today's episode is all about making menstruation normal. We'll talk about coming of age, busting myths, building confidence, and speaking about periods out loud, and why speaking about them out loud without cringing is important, and why it matters more than ever. So, let's dive into it. Let's start from the very, very beginning. The first period. Do you remember your first period? What do you guys call it when you get your first period? Or when you get your period in general? Do you call it the red monster? I've actually heard like weird names. So let me not say weird because everybody has their own thing. We all have their own thing. So I've heard someone say the red sea, the red monster, the Loch Ness monster. For me personally, I call it Grumpzilla. Because let me tell you, when I'm over the moon, I become a monster. Like, come at me. Come at me with caution. Come at me at your own risk because I'm just angry, I'm grumpy, and on top of that, I have a sweet tooth. I want everything chocolatey. I want everything sweet. All the pastries. I love pastries. So if it's sweet, best believe I want it. So imagine a Grumpzilla that loves sweet things. Crazy combination, right? But yeah, that's what happens to me. So for me, my first period was very interesting because I first learned about periods through older cousins. Because I'm the only girl, so I learned it through older cousins. And you know how older cousins can be. If they're mature, you get their boobs popping in, they get their period, you sort of like are excluded. You're not part of the circle, right? So periods were really just talked about in hush hush tones. You know that this happens, but we don't really know what happens. So one day I think a cousin of mine and my mom were having a conversation. And you know, as a kid, you don't really know what they're talking about until you like maybe you grow older and then you put two and two together. You're like, ah, so that's what you're talking about. So anyway, my cousin and my mom had a conversation. And I'm like, what are you guys talking about? Like, what is this? Because let me in on the secret. Why are you leaving me out? Am I not part of the girls? So then they were talking about, this thing happens to every girl. You bleed through your vagina. And I'm like, what? We bleed where? Every month? I was like, no way. This happens to everybody? And I was like, yeah. I'm like, everyone? She's like, yes. And I was like, that's crazy. So, like, every girl must have it. Is there like a sort of natural phenomenon where some girls don't have it? She's like, no, Geneva. Like, everybody has it. Everybody must have it. Like, it's normal. I was like, no, listen, like, for me, I'm not gonna get it because the way they talked about it, the way some of my older cousins talked about it, made it seem like it's such a terrible thing. And I said, look, if this thing is so bad, I don't want any part of it. Okay? I don't want any part of it. I don't want it. I don't want it. They're disgusting. It's nasty. It's painful. I don't want it. And my mom's like, well, like it or not, want it or not, it's going to happen. It's going to come. And I dreaded it. I was like, I don't want to be a teenager. If I turn 13, it's over for me. But for her, it's like, look, it's coming, it's beautiful, it's natural, and I can't wait for you to get it because then we're going to have the top. And she had a whole plan in her head. She's like, look, I'm going to get all the aunties. I'm going to call Auntie Who, Auntie Who, Auntie Who, and we're going to sit down and we're going to talk. We're going to watch. And I just made her face. I was like, this woman, this woman is mad. She's crazy. Me, never. But unfortunately, she wasn't there when it happened. So how it happened is actually crazy because first of all, I was in boarding school, right? So when I came back from boarding school, I think I was like 12 going into 13. I think I had just turned 13. And then I came back from boarding school. Boarding school was so weird because everybody had it. And I was like, damn, I used to just carry. No, I don't even think I carried pads in boarding school before I got my period. I just thought people just carried it for this because it was a requirement, not because we actually got our period. So anyway, so I was home for the holidays and then I had like a movie night with my older brother. Shout out to my older brother. So I had like a movie night with my brother. So we stayed up all night watching movies and then we fell asleep. And then in the middle of the night, dead in the night, I had a stomach ache. My stomach was cramping. Let me tell you, for those girlies or my bleeders that have weird ass cramps, I was cramping. I'm like, what is this? Like, am I dying? What did I eat? I thought I had like eaten something, but like, what did I eat? What did I eat? So anyway, the next morning, I go to the bathroom, take off my underwear, and I look down, and it's red. I'm like, no, 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 no. This can't happen to me. Like, I knew what it was, but I was like, no, 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 no. I thought I was the exception. This can't happen to me. I hate it. I hate it. I hate it. Take it back. Take it back. I was so mad. I just like I went to my cousin. I was like, hey, can I borrow a pad? And she looks at me. She's like, can you what? Like, can I borrow a pad? Like, can you give me a pad? And she's like, why? For what? I didn't want to explain myself. Like, you know why I'm asking you for a pad. Why do you have to make me say it? I'm already having such a terrible day. Anyway, if you're not going to give me a pad, I'm going to go to my grandmother. So I walk to my grandmother. I'm like, I need some money and I need to go to town. Like, can you get someone to drive me to town? She's like, why? I'm like, I just need to buy pads. She's like, what do you mean? I was like, look, I went to the bathroom. My underwear is red. I need pads. She's like, oh my God. She has seen her face. She's like, oh my God, you're such a girl now. La, 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 la. So, anyway, that's how my period came. But one thing that I liked, that I loved about my grandma is that when she gave me the talk, she had my little brother with me. Because of that, it made me feel like this is not just a girl's issue. The guys must be involved too. So when she sat me down to talk to me, my little brother was there too. She's like, listen, you're all going to have this talk. So now you got your period. Stay away from boys. Cause now you can get pregnant. And that's it. That was the talk. I was like, that's it. My mom made it feel like it was gonna be a lot worse, but that's all I get. Okay, cool. But then after that, she told everyone I was on my period. She told everyone I got my period. And I was so angry because I know that when you get your period, you don't tell nobody. Like, nobody has to know. Not your brothers, not your dad, not the people in your house, not your male relatives. But my she told everyone. I think she even told the neighbors, even the people that were not in town. She told everyone. I was so mad. I remember that day we even went for dinner somewhere, and I was like, we were sitting across each other, and she was sitting next to my aunt, and I saw her like whisper something in my head. I was like, she told you, hadn't she? I was so angry. That's the story of my first period. Now you know. I can't believe I just told the whole world how I came of age. But yes, this is what we're doing. We're breaking the stereotype. So you know about my Grumpzilla and my red monster. And I think because of that, that's why I'm always angry every time I'm over the moon. So if you're watching this, tell me how you got your first period. I would like to know your story as well. We're sharing. You tell me yours, I tell you mine. You know, is how it goes. So, for many girls in Zambia and across Africa, the first period is often met with fear. Mine was met with anger. if I'm being honest, I was angry. It's often met with fear, confusion, and embarrassment. Some don't even know what's happening to their bodies when it happens. Instead of being a proud moment, it feels like something to hide. Like for me, I didn't want people to know, but the whole world knew what was happening to me thanks to my grandma. But what if it was different, guys? Like, what if it was different? What if instead we celebrated it? If it were up to me, I think I should celebrate my period. It should be like a second birthday or maybe like a graduation. Let's treat periods like a graduation for a new chapter in life, a coming of age party. We should normalize that. Let's make it a thing. Let's make it a proud moment and not shame. So because of how people talked about periods, I hated mine. I did not want to get mine. I hated it. So imagine if we treated it like something to celebrate, something that we should be proud of. That's something we should do. That is something we should do. So growing up, I remember hearing girls whispering in class and rushing to their bathrooms and hiding their pads in their sleeves and in their bags. And I thought to myself, why do we have to hide something that happens to half the population of the world almost every month? Every month, actually, not almost every month. Something that happens to half the population of the world every month. And like, first of all, I never understood why like most girls would rush to the bathroom because first of all, for me, yes, I got my period, but it wasn't consistent. When I'm home for the holidays, I would have my period. When I go back to school, it would just disappear. And I was like, I'm cured. It's never coming back. And I go back home, it's back. I was like, are we still doing this? Like, God, why? But yeah, most girls would leave class also often. Some girls would miss classes, and I would just think, damn, like, do you not want an education? Do you hate school? Like, do you not want to be here? For me, because I was young and I didn't know what was happening, and I was like the youngest in my class, and because also my peers were on and off side, it wasn't really. And also the talk, I didn't really get the talk, but I got the talk, so I didn't know what was happening until like sometime someday I just like I would hear whispers from the boys. I'd hear whispers from the boys and they would make fun of the girls. They would say, oh, hide your books, hide your books. The girls steal books. I was like, what do you mean? Oh, the girls will get pages from your books. And I was like, why are you saying that? And then, if this girl stops coming to class because she has no pads, imagine she would come back and say, hey, can I borrow your biology book? Can I borrow your history book for notes? So she would spend the first few weeks of her being back at school, like catching up on notes. Instead of paying attention to the teacher, she would be catching up on notes. And when she's all caught up, she would have missed weeks of lessons because she doesn't know what's going on. And that's not fair. She falls back and eventually she says, what's the point? Because I just don't get it, right? So UNICEF reports that 1 in 10 African girls miss school during menstruation due to stigma or lack of supplies. That means so many girls are being left behind simply because of something so natural. This is why this conversation matters. So take a moment, okay? Take a moment right now and think back to your first period. The first period. The first angry red monster. Not even a monster, actually. I shouldn't even call it that. A beautiful, beautiful, beautiful thing. Think back at that. Did you feel proud? Confused? Maybe? Scared? Perhaps? However you felt, how do you want the next generation of girls to feel instead? I know I don't want the next generation of girls to feel as angry as I did. I want them to feel happy. I want them to feel proud. So, how do you want the next generation of girls to feel instead? So, now let's talk about myths. Because in our culture, there are plenty. And believe me, I was blown away when I heard some of them. So, like I said, I had the talk, but I didn't have the talk. I think because my grandma was very modern, so she didn't really believe in like myths and misconceptions around menstruation. So I was very shocked when I mingled or interacted with my peers at school and they told me like myths around menstruation. I was like, what? You what? Like, for instance, the first one that still lives with me is the touching salt. If you're on your period and you touch salt, like when you're cooking or when you're putting salt in your food, your period will be prolonged. Like instead of the normal 5 days, it'll be like 7 days or 8. And I was so scared. I was like, what? I almost believed them. I was like, nah, I've been doing this for a long time and none of this has ever happened to me. How is that true? So yeah, like the salt thing. And also I heard something about if you cook and you're on your period, all the men in your house are going to get a cough. I also heard something about periods being unclean, or don't talk about periods in front of men. Don't tell a man that you're on your period. Don't even tell your brothers that you're on your period. Does it sound familiar to you? If you know more myths and misconceptions around periods, please let me know. Drop a comment in the comment section. I want to know what you guys grew up hearing. But here's the thing also, despite whatever you heard, none of this is true. None of the myths you hear is true. It's not. Periods are not dirty. Periods are not unclean. And actually, you should talk about them in front of men because it's not just a woman's thing, it's everybody's thing. So these myths have been passed down from generations to generations and they continue to shape how girls see themselves today. That should not be the case. Because if you ask someone, your auntie, your older cousins, and say, where did this myth come from? Actually, you should question them to say, where did this myth come from? Who started it? Nobody knows because it doesn't exist. It's not true. So if girls grow up hearing unclean, you're unclean during your period, how can you possibly feel comfortable and worthy? Here's a story I once came across. A girl in rural Zambia shared how she never entered her family's kitchen. Imagine not stepping foot into a kitchen because you're on your period. You're stuck in your room like a prisoner until you stop bleeding. She felt excluded as she was suddenly less important in her own house. It wasn't until she had attended a menstrual health session at school that she realized that periods did not make her dirty. It made her normal. So think about it. What myths did you grow up hearing? And how did they affect the way you view menstruation today? The truth is, menstruation is a sign of health. It's a sign that your body is working. And it is not a curse, it is not an illness, and it is definitely not something that you should be ashamed of. Let's talk confidence. One of the biggest steps to normalizing menstruation is changing the way we talk about them. Imagine if we could say, I'm on my period, the same way we say, I am hungry or I have a headache, without cringing, because words have power. And every time we whisper, instead of speaking, we give stigma more space to grow. That's not what we're here to do. And that's not what we're going to do. Here's a challenge for you. Start saying the word period, 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 period out loud with your chest. Say it with your chest and say it without cringing. Correct the myths when you hear them. If someone says periods are unclean, say no. If someone says you can't touch salt, say, oh, yes, I can. If someone says you can't tell your dad that you're on your period, why not? Yes, I can. Because guess what? It's a normal part of life. Support your friends and sisters when they need pads or pain relief. Because trust me, cramps are real. My cramps To be, if I'm being honest, my cramps are designed by the devil himself. He's like, these cramps are going to Geneva. So trust me, we need the support. We need pain relief. Like, if you have meds, guys, this is for the guys. Just help us. I know a man that carries pads in his bag all the time, just in case someone needs them. So I challenge every guy out there watching this, carry pads in your bags. You never know who needs them. So, I remember hearing one girl say the first time she openly told her teacher, I need to sit out, I'm on my period. She felt free. She realized that she didn't have to hide anymore. That's the kind of confidence that we're trying to build in every girl. So now let's zoom in. Menstruation isn't about individuals. It's not about me. It's not about you. It's about everybody. It's about society. When girls miss school because of their periods, they fall behind. When they fall behind, fewer finish. When fewer finish school, fewer become leaders, doctors, innovators, and decision makers. So, normalizing menstruation is not just about comfort, it's about equality. It connects directly to the Sustainable Development Goals. For instance, SDG 3, good health and well being, SDG 4, quality education, and SDG 5, gender equality. When schools provide safe bathrooms, provide pads, education, girls stay in class. And when girls stay in class, we build stronger and fairer societies. So, here's the truth: menstruation is normal and it should be celebrated. It shouldn't be hidden. Myths must be challenged. And every time we speak out loud instead of staying silent, we step forward to freedom. I want to leave you with this today. Speak up. Say the word period without shame. Correct a myth the next time you hear one. Support girls and women around you, whether that's sharing a pad or listening to their stories or just being kind. And most importantly, let's raise a generation that sees menstruation as a sign of strength and not something to hide. Thank you so much for tuning in today. Unfortunately, I wish I could stay longer, but that's all that I had for you today on the Flow podcast. If you enjoyed this conversation, don't forget to follow us on all our social media platforms, subscribe to our YouTube channel, and share this episode with a friend. My name is Jenniver Zulu. I have been your host for today. And also a shout out to Lumaine TV for letting us use their beautiful studio to shout the word period. English just escaped me just now. But let's shout the word period everywhere, guys. Say it with your chest. Say it with your chest. Period, period, period. Now remember, together we can create a world where menstruation is normal. Thank you so much for joining me today. Until next time, let's keep flowing, let's keep growing. Period.